You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show, the preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
I'm Chris Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. Ladies and gentlemen, there are these things that makes it official. Welcome to the big show. As always, the Chris Voss Show is the family that loves you but doesn't judge you. At least not as harshly as most of the people walking around your office who are giving you that side eye, that sneery sort of look, and they don't like you anyway. But you know what? Just carry on. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep listening to the Chris Voss Show. You're going to be smarter than, better than, and eventually you'll make more money if you don't already. So that's not a guarantee. My attorneys say I can't say that, but I just did. We have an amazing author on the show. When do we not have amazing authors on the show? Pretty much never. So today we have G.C. Brown. His newest book is out on the show. We're going to be talking to him about it. Comes out November 1st, 2024. Are we in November? What? I'm not ready. I'm still in January. Anyway, his book is entitled SNIFF, the SNIFF Smoke Shoot Series Book 1. So that is coming out on November 1. I just had COVID for 2 weeks. I'm very familiar with the contents of his book. Wait, this might be something different. Anyway, we'll get into it. Welcome to the show, GC. How are you?
Thank you. Pleased to be here. I'm great. How are you?
Thank you. And you've got an amazing story. We're going to get into some of your history and some of the things you were doing in your life and all that good stuff. So give us a 30,000 overview. What's inside your new book?
It's about a guy that was on top of the world in finance. It's fiction. Guy on top of the world, making $6-8 million a year doing the finance thing, all across Europe, all across the Middle East, some stuff here in Boca Raton, Florida. At the end of the day, everything's great. He's married to the woman of his dreams. He's got the kid. He's got the chateau in Switzerland. Everything is great. Markets crash. His wife is pronounced with a terminal disease.
Oh, no.
Everything, his world comes crashing down. Yeah. He ends up addicted to heroin, trying to save his work around the clock. He starts with speed and ends up with heroin, ends up with the addiction, starts robbing banks in the U.S. to support his wife's cancer treatment.
Oh, no. Wow. That's one whole way to do it. So he goes through all this stuff. So SNIFF is this title refers to, what did you say he was doing, meth? Or
He started off, he dibbled and dabbled throughout his whole life in some of the, he was in that world with fast pace, fast cars, fast women, the whole thing. And so he dibbled and dabbled his whole life. And in the end, the heroin got him.
That's what I always tell the police when they pull me over. I was just doing a little dibble-dabbling.
Just dibble-dabbling. Look, I can
dibble-dabbling. That might make a good title for a book. Dibble-dabbling. And then it's like Joe Montana from, what's his face? Scarface. Dibble-dabbling, Scarface and dibble-dabbling.
Yeah, that wasn't Joe.
Who was the name of Montana?
Tony Montana.
Hey, from the Cuba.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell us a little bit about yourself. I think we got your .com at the beginning of the show, right? Because I have COVID brain. Did we get that?
The .com?
Yeah.
GCBrownBooks.com.
We'll just give it. All right, just give it the double plug, because it's always important people go to your website.
GCBrownBooks.com.
So tell us a little bit about your history. I was going to read your bio, but I think it's going to sound really interesting from you. Tell us about how you grew up, when did you get interested in writing, and what sort of adventures kind of laid the foundation for the content maybe that you put in your books?
Okay. So grew up on a small farm in northwest Indiana. Moved to high school with 300 people, 400 people, one stoplight, super small town. Moved to Arizona on a family move when I was 16. Finished a couple of years of school out there, 5,000 students in the school, Mesa High School for my junior year. Graduated, had some baseball scholarships, have it in the blood. Grandfather played professional baseball, uncle played professional baseball. I was kind of burned out on it. I did a little bit of everything. Started off selling Kirby vacuum cleaners. It ended up turning into nightclubs and sandwich shops and detail shops and on to Africa diamond trade.
Oh, wow.
A bunch of real estate between Florida, Hawaii, a couple of software companies, a restaurant chain. I did it all. Ultimately, I was pretty good at the business stuff, terrible at the taxes. A young kid in my 30s making more money than I probably ever should have in a city with way too many things to do.
Way too many vices to do? Is that what things
No,
means?
not too many vices. Just I guess it would be vices, but not the drugs and not the typical,
Okay.
I got
we do all that here in Vegas.
Yeah, they do it in Miami too. And
That's true. Yeah, there's a bit going on there. I've heard.
But I ended up miscalculating some stuff with as far as the feds. They moved in and accused me of something I absolutely did not do. Offered me a 3-year plea. Said that they originally investigated me saying I was bringing blood diamonds in the United States, and I absolutely was not.
Oh, wow.
2 years after investigating me, they came up with nothing, went back to their supervisors, charged me of some, for all intents and purposes, BS tax offenses that I absolutely was not guilty of, chose not to take the plea of a few years, took them to trial. They slapped me with 20 years.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, so for fighting them and exercising my constitutional rights, they penalized me. And I did 16 years in prison.
Wow.
While I was there, you've heard some of the stuff that I've done. So I get to prison. There's none of that to do. It's stare at some walls and watch TV. There's literally nothing to do.
Yeah.
Fast forward, I go to my case manager, says, hey, listen, I'm used to doing things. I need to make money. I need to do something. What can I do? He kind of scoffed and said, you could write a book.
Yeah.
What do I know about
plenty of time to do it, just like
plenty of time to do it. I knew nothing about writing a book. I walked out of the office, obviously a little discouraged, knew nothing about writing. Fast forward, I ended up in the hole for 15 months for sitting in the wrong seat. That's what it boiled down to. And I didn't take the command to move probably as well as I should have, and it turned into a 15 months in the hole. But while I'm there, I was fighting my appeals. I get a legal call. My attorney says, what are you doing in there? All I do is read. There's nothing else to do. All I do is read. You should write a book. Again, the second time, what do I know about writing a book? Fast forward, a couple of months go by, and the USA Today newspaper somebody got and slid it underneath my door. We passed it. It's obviously solitary confinement, 6x9 box.
Wow.
Steel door never opens.
Wow.
But you're past mail and that kind of stuff. So front page of the USA Today, top 10 hardest things to do. Number 3, writing a novel. I said, that's 3 times. That's what it took. So I immediately picked up a pen and 120 pages in, said, this is what I'm doing for the rest of my life. I said, I will end up at the top of this bestseller list. And it's been an upward climb since. And I believe SNIFF is that book.
And you have a lot of entrepreneurial skills, from what I understand. According to the feds, some are legal, some are not. I'm kidding.
And I don't think they call them skills at all, as a matter of fact.
I should say allegedly. Of course, I don't know. Anyway, and maybe you should write a book on how to be an entrepreneur and, of course, how to avoid jail. That might be how to avoid getting on the bad list of the feds. I know that when they usually have their thing. You're also working on a new partnership, too, as well, that's launching, I think, at the same time as the book. And this is an entrepreneurial venture as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah. While I'm inside, I set 3 goals. 1, I wasn't doing what the government said I was doing. Could I have been better at taxes? I mean, who couldn't, making that kind of money as a kid? There were some other things that I was doing I wasn't doing correctly. Immoral stuff, wasn't married, had a couple of kids, just doing the crazy kid stuff. No drugs, that kind of stuff. But I decided that I was going to stop all the BS. I've managed to do a lot of things in my life, and I've always managed to end up near the top of those things. But somehow, one way or the other, I'd screw it up. I'd start to hanging out. I'd start to chasing the women. And, I like that car. Let's buy a house.
Around here.
Yeah, so I decided that I was going to not only write and become a New York Times bestselling author, I decided I was going to become the best human being that I could possibly be.
Good for you.
I set out 10 years ago and I've changed my life. 51 years, I ducked marriage. Obviously, 16 years of that I was in prison, but I said I would never be married. I would never do a lot of the things that I am currently doing right now. And my life is completely 180 degrees different than what it was, and I cannot be happier.
And you're married. That's kind of weird.
And I'm married.
Anyway.
I'm married with brand new twin identical boys.
Oh, well, congratulations.
7 weeks old tomorrow.
And how old are you now?
I'm 51.
Oh boy, that's a lot of work. Those young ones for the. I remember my friend had twins at 30. I think it was 35, 33, something. And I remember he came to me with this vacant look in his eyes. I'd visited him for a week, and he was holding up one of those diaper condoms. Have you seen those? The big tubes.
Yes.
And he goes. This is 1 day of diapers, and he's like holding it in the air because it's so long. And
it amazes me how many diapers.
I think it was one of my Magnum XLs that he was holding up, but he'd filled it with diapers. And so I was like looking at it. He goes, Chris, this is one fucking day. He goes, the twins will be asleep. The one starts crying. It wakes the other one up. Then that one's crying. And then the other one. And he goes, I understand why people have kids at 20. I freaking fully understand it right now. At 30, I do not have the energy for this shit.
Yeah.
And he had this vacant look in his eyes. You know that when people tell you something, you're like, they ain't fucking kidding around.
Yeah.
So at 50,
and there's a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. We have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old little boy.
Do you?
Oh man!
Congratulations, man. Good for you. I'll have whatever you're drinking, the coffee or something. I don't know.
Up cup of coffee. Yeah, we were just getting ready to talk about that.
You're gonna need
while I was inside, I said the book thing. I'm going to get to the top of that list. I'm going to change my life and be the best human being I could possibly be. And I'm going to come out with. At that time, I originally wanted to come out with a rum or a vodka because hey, everybody's doing it.
Oh yeah.
Figured move to the Caribbean. Let's do that. That slowly changed or evolved into a health shake. Now, when I hit the street, I've always been pretty healthy my whole life, actually. And it's been a big part of my lifestyle, which is why there's no drugs and alcohol to speak of. Yeah. Anyway, the health shake turned into coming home, planning on that. And in 16 years, the health industry or the health shake, fat loss, all those kinds of just went bazonkers. And it's millions of dollars to get into it correctly, tons of time, and I had neither one. So that's what turned into, I was taking all these different supplements in the morning, lion's mane and moringa powder and shilajit and NAD and stand on one leg and take this and hold your arm out and take everything.
Yeah.
And all of it tasted terrible, and I was mixing it into my coffee is the only way that you could do some of that stuff, like the lion's mane and the shilajit. Oh, you take the shilajit at 6 o'clock in the morning, you're still burping it up at dinner time.
Oh.
Just but a phenomenal 4,000 years it's been around. Phenomenal.
Yeah. I take the tar kind.
Yeah, that's the one I was
really?
taking. Oh. So it was, and I was just putting it on my tongue. I eventually just started dissolving it into my morning coffee, which still tasted terrible. Still, if you've had the shilajit tar, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I just straight shoot it. I lost feeling in my tongue in Vietnam, so.
I'm not even going to ask that story.
I was in Nam. I killed, I think, a lot of Vietnamese during my tour of duty there. I think it was about 20 or so. Yeah, I was there last week on vacation. Stole that joke from a movie, people. It wasn't mine.
So,
I love the setup of that. I'll be like, yeah, I can't feel anything. I got a plate in my head from Nam. Yeah. People are like, really? You were in Nam? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got this new Upkeep. Give that to me.
Up Cup Coffee with a K.
Up Cup with a K.
Yeah, we managed to take it to a chemist, a coffee expert first, who turned us on to a team of chemists. Mm-hmm. We managed to take, now most of this mushroom coffee, it tastes like dirt. Everybody knows that. Anybody that's tried it, it's terrible. It's like licking the back of a wet tree in dirt. We managed to take the shilajit, the NAD plus with the anti-aging, and the lion's mane, and put it into a brewed cup of coffee with some chemist. Oh. And Chris, I'm not kidding you. It is a great tasting. People have tried it. You'll try it. We'll get you a bag. It's absolutely unbelievable. A taste. It's got the lion's mane and it's got the shit. It's got the NAD plus in it. It's just and we come out, we hit the digital shelves on Black Friday.
Oh,
and
that's
it'll be
perfect timing.
nationwide. We've signed the contracts. It'll be nationwide on retailer shelves in the first quarter of 25, beginning of second quarter.
So you should do an entrepreneur book on how to be an entrepreneur. I mean, you were just gracious.
And I've only been out. And the trick to the whole thing is there's a couple of books coming out. They're talking about movies, the whole deal. I got twins, married, coffee company. I've been home 10 months.
I'll have what you're drinking. Maybe there's something.
I told you, it's up.
Rounding back to the book and stuff. So with the book, this is going to be a series coming out. That's the future of what you got going on here. How many books are in the series? Is there a plan on a cap, or is it just wide open?
3. I'm going to do 3 for the SNIFF Smoke Shoot. First one obviously out in November. Second one out midway through next year, and then the last one either end of next year, depending on publisher, or beginning of following year. But in the meantime, I also wrote the book that I wrote first was part of the detective series, which you see it up here on the wall, the Mason Storm series.
Yeah.
That's the first book I wrote when I first decided that I was going to do this. I ended up winning an award. I won the Benjamin Franklin Award on it, placed first in it. And then the very next day, I tore the entire book apart, sentence by sentence, and turned it into a series. I had a bunch of time. I turned it into the Mason Storm series. Book 1, Taken by Storm, is out March 1st. So I'm actually doing 2 series at the same time.
Oh, wow. Well, you got your work cut out for you, but we have a lot of authors that come on the show for, they have like multiple series and multiple threads that go down. Sometimes they cross them and stuff. And, we've had all the Jack Ryan folks, Jack Ryan Jr. and
wow.
We've had all the Tom Clancy people on, except for Tom Clancy. For some reason, he won't come on the show. I'm not sure why, but
it's a pretty good idea why.
Not around.
I don't think he's around.
He's not around, man. That's why. Okay. Maybe we get an AI version on him on the show.
I'm sure it's out there.
But we've had all the authors on, and it's just amazing. And of course, a lot of the authors that write for him, they have their own series too. It's just crazy what they have set up. So this is exciting. And do you want to tease us out the other series that you have coming up? Give us a little.
Yeah, sure. It comes out March 1st of next year. It's the main character is Mason Storm. He is a retired MMA championship belt holder winner. Gets bored later in life, gets hurt. Midway through his career, gets hurt. Decides he wants to be a detective. That turns into a homicide detective set in South Florida. The publisher and some of the people that have read it are saying it's the brand new Miami Vice with the same kind of cool character, the Miami style, but set in West Palm Beach, which is about 40 minutes north of Miami, which is where I used to live before this. Obviously, I told you that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty familiar with the city. So that's the first thing I wrote, and it's just a book 1. He's solving serial killer. He's got a past that's following him around. He's gone through a divorce, a family tragedy, and he overcomes. And book 1 is out March 1st.
It should be exciting to see it, and all the stuff you got going. How do you juggle all these things? I mean, you're doing a lot. Are you just? Is it the mushroom?
It's
coffee.
Not that kind of mushroom, Chris.
What is it? I just want to know the key to this. I need some. Whatever.
So I told you in the beginning, I was raised on a farm, a small farm. If you didn't get chores done, you didn't get plants in the ground, you didn't get. So I developed a good work ethic from 4 years old up. And it just, the reason I went to prison, Chris, and I don't say this often, is I lost track of the small stuff. I've been great at all the small stuff my entire life, which has gotten me to the bigger stuff. So fast forward, I get there to Miami, and I start making several $1 million a year in my 31, 32. Wow. So I'm driving all the cars. I got too big for my britches. So I started not paying attention to the small stuff. And the small stuff's ultimately what got me. I signed stuff that I didn't know I was signing. I just didn't stuff. People mortgage brokers just putting conditions in my files that I never even knew that were there. I let my life be controlled by other people. Now I don't do that. So I micromanage everything that's around me. Everybody may not appreciate that, but they appreciate me being here. So they'd rather do that than deal with me ending up where I just came from. So I get up early. I start my day 4:30 every day. If you've got an email on that comes in the middle of the night to me, it's returned by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
I don't get off I probably overwork more than I should, especially with the twins. I enjoy work though. I operate best in the chaos. I can't do the 9 to 5. I've never been able to do that.
You and me. I have to work. I enjoy working 24/7.
Yeah.
I don't really work 24/7, but you know, in business and as an entrepreneur, you think about it 24/7. But I love kind of the freedom. You know, if I want to go muck around, take the dog for a walk, or I don't know, chase girls around town, I can go do that, and then later do my work. You know, I don't have to do that now. And I really like that. It gives you a lot of freedom. Gives you a lot of, you know, as long as you still get the work done.
Yeah.
18 years of being an entrepreneur, I could never go work for anybody else, and they probably wouldn't have me anyway. So my resume would just be like, "Have you ever worked for anyone? Ever? No. Do you get along
How do you deal with authority?
How do you deal with authority? Do you question it much? Do you work with others? No. I want to punch most people in the face. Is that legal here? Just want to know.
You got a position?
I don't care about the vacation days, but can I punch people in the face if they get out of hand? Just want to know that. You know, I can't do that. Can I at least kick them in the shins or hit them with a chair in the shins? So I really want to do. So as we go out, any final thoughts? Anything we missed that we should talk about that you've done on the book or doing on the book?
No, outside of I've got some great people behind me. I've got a great team. I've got the Ken Atchity and Storybook Merchant, Lisa Sarazzoli are putting it out there. I got a 7-book contract with them.
Nice. Got a lot coming.
Yeah, I walked out to it's hard to get a publishing deal to begin with. I walked out with a 7-book.
Yeah.
I was still I was still on an ankle monitor. I was still on an ankle monitor when I signed the 7-book publishing deal.
I think they knew you weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere. He's got an ankle monitor. We can trust him. He'll be fine.
Yeah. I couldn't leave the driveway. It's funny. I stayed there with my brother in Arizona. You know, you have to be released to somebody. So I stayed with my brother in Arizona, and he still has Luca, a little 2-year-old. I used to take him out for walks, but I could only walk to the end of the driveway, make a left at the end of the house, go back to the right side, and go to the end of my cutoff on that side, or the ankle monitor would go off.
Well, you know, he's going to have to stay home and type some shit because he ain't going nowhere.
That's right.
We know where he's at. Plus, we can always check with his parole age if he gets out. So we'll
listen. She actually, funny story, she just left here.
Really?
Yeah, I thought she was going to pop in. I get a text this morning, hey, stopping by. You can't do it at noon. I got something to do at noon. Yeah, she just left here. But honestly, she's been we didn't start off where we are now, the whole authority thing that you and I probably struggle with.
Yeah.
So we didn't start off well, but we are in a great place now. She's actually, she's on my side. I had to get permission to put the books out, the whole.
Really?
You would shake your head at some of the stuff that this government pulls. It's actually unbelievable.
Yeah, it wants your money or wants your paycheck or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's a funny business, that whole thing. You think they'd, what was it they did with, who's that pot-smoking country singer? They have
which one? Willie Nelson?
Actually, Willie Nelson. The IRS was like, you owe us money, and I'll make an album and just give it to you. They're like, okay, that's fine with us.
Yeah, the problem, Chris, is the statute says something different than what they actually prosecute for. The statute says you have to willfully evade, willfully not pay. That's why I fought them. That was actually not willful. I had 10 years. At that time, I had 10 years of checks back and forth to the accountants. I had the same firm out of Coral Gables for 10 years. How was it willful? I just didn't. I could have been a little better, and I should have paid on time. But that's not what the statute says. The statute says willfully evade. That was not the case.
Wow. So now you're on the right track. You're doing the right things. You're a family man. You're living your life morally adjusted. I don't know what the right word is.
Yeah, that's it. Let me adjusted.
I don't know what the right word is because I'm not morally adjusted, but you are. So the giveusyour.coms, one last time as we go out, encourage people to pick up the book wherever fine books are sold.
Yeah, it's going to be available everywhere. The website is for Gregory Claude Brown, gcbrown.com. All the socials are there. It's GC Brown, either books or GC Brown all across. They have me everywhere. Everybody's probably tired of seeing. They put videos out. They put movie or trailers out. They've got book trailers. It's just incredible what they've done over there at the Hyde Virtual Agency and Blaine Group. The PR, it's just unbelievable. They have me everywhere. I'm lucky enough to be on your show. The book should do. It's a good read. I encourage everybody to pick it up.
Thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was great.
And folks, pick it up wherever fine books are sold. It'll be available November 1st, 2024 in all formats. G.C. Brown has got his new book out. You're going to want to get a read on it because he's got the rest of the series coming down the pike here. It is called SNIFF, the Sniff, Smoke, Shoot Series Book 1. You want to get it so you can be on top of all the future books. Thanks so much for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss. Chris Voss, one on the TikTokity and all those crazy places on the internet. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. We'll see you next time. And there we go.